Hello, my name is Brianna Pat from the Dallas Weekly, and I'm here with Unoma from Herbal Goodness. And we are here for the Women's History Month issue to discuss her journey, her success, and how the Women's Business Center plays a part in that. So I guess I'll get right into it. First of all, thank you for having me. Thank you for interviewing with me. And to start off, my first question is, what was your inspiration behind starting Herbal Goodness? At least from my reading, you started everything in 2013, or you at least began kind of putting ideas and everything together in 2013. But I guess more of an anecdotal account of how you got there, and obviously how the Women's Business Center played a role in that.
So thank you so much for having me. Very excited to be here. So my name is Unoma-Herbal. I actually started to think about Herbal Goodness in 2011. My background is in technology. I had graduated with a PhD in computer engineering and had worked in the tech industry for a few years. And I was just getting burnt out. I also knew I really wanted to do something entrepreneurial. And then just at that point, I became pregnant with my third child. And along the journey, I was trying to find healthy foods to eat that were similar to the foods I grew up on in West Africa, Nigeria. When I was growing up, there was organic fruits and superfoods, super herbs all around us. And I grew up on those, eating that every day. And so for my third child, I really wanted to give him a good start in life. And so I went out really seeking the superfoods of my youth. In particular, I was looking for papaya because I know that papaya is really great for children, unborn children, healthy skin, healthy bones. And I went into the stores, and the superfoods I was finding were very different from the ones I had grown up with. It didn't taste quite the same. Being a researcher, I decided to research what was so different from what I was finding. And I come to discover that 97% of the papaya in the US is genetically modified. In fact, papaya is the very first fruit that has been modified genetically for human consumption. That made me really curious. I started learning about non-GMO, organic foods, how to be sustainable, what does good food really mean. The more I researched and the more I learned, the more I really became passionate about sharing this amazing superfoods, the organic superfoods that I grew up with the world and with people in the US. And that was really the beginning of the journey of Herbal Goodness. I just really became very passionate about eating healthy, about bringing the amazing superfoods and super herbs of my youth to the world. And so our journey started with papaya. Our very first product was papaya leaf, organic papaya leaf tea. And since then, it's just been an amazing journey, introducing one superfood after the other to the world.
And kind of diving into my second question, how long would you say it took you to execute your business plan, and what exactly were those particular steps?
So thank you, Brianna. That's a really good question. I have to be really honest. When I got started, I really didn't have a business plan. For me, it wasn't the typical, sit down, think that you're going to start a business, write a business plan. None of that happened. Just like I was talking about, I just really became passionate about sharing the superfoods of my youth. I stayed up one evening, sort of created what I thought would be our first product, which was the papaya leaf tea. I set up a very rudimentary website. I did some advertising. I went to bed at 5 a.m. and I woke up at 10 a.m. and we had 5 orders. And I really started, running around trying to fulfill those orders. And that's the journey of how we started. So the first step was to find suppliers for the product. And that took us about 3 good months looking for the source of pure organic, high quality papaya leaves. And that took a good few months. And then I really started looking for a co-packer. I think we were very fortunate very early on. We found a very reliable co-packer in California. And so within a year, we had a product rolled out and selling. It took another few months to add our second product, but really we've grown by listening to our customers. Each product we've added has been a customer coming to tell us, hey, I love your product, papaya leaf tea, but I'd like it in an extract form. I'd like it in a peel form. Or how about your soursop or graviola? So we're growing very organically. We still are growing. We're still implementing our business plan. But the first year, we were profitable off the bat. So if I had to put a time frame to it, within 12 months we were organized as a business. It took almost 3 years for me to get paid from the business. But within the first year, we had gone to our very first trade show. And we were in 100 retail stores within 24 months. So.
And diving into my third question, was your business journey what you would describe as a difficult one? And if it was, what were some of the challenges or hurdles that you ultimately faced?
So thank you for that question. Was the journey a difficult one? I'd like to say that when you're doing what you love, it's not a challenge or a difficulty. I know that we overcome challenges and hurdles. But when I am doing what I love, I think that when people are doing what they love, it's no longer, it's the thrill of, solving problems and overcoming these challenges. When it comes to some of our biggest challenges, frankly, finding the right people to work with has been one of the biggest challenges. Also, ensuring that our products are the highest quality. We travel far and wide across the globe to try and find the highest quality and to import it and make sure we go through all the quality steps. So some of that has been challenging, making sure that we keep our supply chain steady. And then in terms of funding for growth, we've bootstrapped the company pretty much, and I have had to lean on family and friends to source for funds to grow, and that has worked out. As we continue to grow, though, I know that we do need funding. We need access to funding to scale at the point that we're looking for. So funding is always a challenge for businesses like us. Especially for minority-owned, Black-owned businesses who access about 1 or 2% of the funding in the market. That hasn't come very easy for us, and so those are some of the challenges. Finding the right people to work with, also, and putting together a team, putting together a process. Some of those have been some of the challenges that we've faced.
And going into my next question, your business has obviously a focus on sustainability and holding as much of an organic approach as possible. Has that been a difficult approach to things? And if so, in what ways?
So yes, one of the things that make us stand out in the marketplace is our values. One is quality. We bring the highest quality products to the marketplace, USDA organic certified. Every single batch of our ingredient is tested to the highest standards by third-party certifiers. The other thing is sustainability. We really believe in Mother Earth, keeping her healthy for our children and for their children. So in that regard, we're green. We use recyclable or biodegradable packaging where available. And we also work with our farmers to ensure that we are fair trade, which means that we pay them a fair value so that they can continue to produce organic food. I think that in the recent past, people are becoming more aware of the importance of sustainability, making sure that the earth is healthy. If we have a healthy soil, then we can grow healthy food, and we are what we eat. And I think that a lot more people are becoming aware of that. Having said that, though, there are still, there's still challenges. For example, we're part of the Just Label It movement, which says, let us know what we have in our food. And for me, that's really important. I also think that it's really important that we support our organic farmers where possible, provide funding for them, provide training for them. So at Herbal Goodness, we donate 10% of our profits. Part of that funds go to provide scholarships for children of our female farmers. We go to their communities. We visit each and every one of our farmers. We know them by name. We invest in their communities because we really believe that we need to keep our organic farmers healthy and in business, and because it's good for the earth and it's good for us. So those are some of the challenges that we face, finding them, making sure they're happy, and just keeping them in business.
And diving into my next question, how have you been able to utilize and incorporate, you obviously spoke about having a background in computer engineering, how have you been able to incorporate that in your business and to help you improve?
So thank you for that. How have we incorporated technology into our business? My background is in technology. I am, I'm a Black woman in technology. I still am. I'm very proud of it. I'm very passionate about technology. When it comes to our business, we have leveraged technology a lot to scale and to grow in our systems, from our processes. From very early on, we invested heavily in technology. We're constantly looking for the cutting edge apps or tools that will help us to do business more efficiently, more effectively. In particular, one of our biggest challenge really has been along the supply chain management. One of our goals as a company is to provide end-to-end transparency from the farm to the table. And as a small business in this industry, we realized that there was no real, tool for supply chain and inventory management and forecasting. So about 2 years ago, we decided to build our own system, our own inventory management system. It's called Inventory Flow. And our goal is actually to provide that solution not just for us, but for other small businesses who are in this industry. One of the things we found is that in this industry, there's not a lot of use of technology. So my background in technology has actually been a huge advantage for our company. In addition to that, one of the things that we really do is impact. I talked about impact as one of our values. Our company gives 10% of profits to support the education of girls in science and technology in Africa and across the globe. And that's because of my background and because I am looking at the space where we can bring on more female entrepreneurs and more girls in technology. And our company supports that. So that's one of the ways that we're, really using technology and promoting technology for more girls.
And my next question, how were you introduced to the Women's Business Center? How did you first come across them? Did you just look into them when you first started your business or maybe later on? Or did they come to you? How did that interaction happen?
How did we find the Women Business Center? Frankly, I think that it came to us. So our company is 100% women owned and certified through the WBENC. And we get newsletters from them. And so one of the newsletters we got actually introduced us to the Women Business Center. And they were running a pitch competition for the Women of Color Shape the Future. and I was very interested in that. I talked about being a woman a woman of color in business, and so our company entered that competition. It was being organized by the Women Business Center, supported by the Lift Fund, and that was the competition that really exposed our company to the WBC. We came out third place in that competition. And through that whole interaction, I started learning about the work of the WBC. I was very excited and very passionate that there was a women business center right here in the Dallas area that we could go and, get resources, get mentoring, and maybe even get a space to work and connect with other women business owners right here in the DFW area. And I was very passionate about that. And so I really reached out and got more involved. They also started to tell me a little bit about the Lift Fund and all the resources in terms of funding that might be available to women business owners. As I continued to work with them, I also got to know about their mentoring and coaching program, and I have taken advantage of that. I reached out, I scheduled a time, and I was assigned a coach and a mentor, a business coach and a mentor. These business coaches and mentors are people who've run their own businesses before, have been very successful, so they've walked the talk. And my coach has walked hand in hand with me since, I believe, since 2020 or 2019 really is when I got introduced to the WBC. And it's just been a phenomenal journey. There's nothing like having a coach hold your hand and help you through, some of the journey of entrepreneurship, because it can be lonely. It can be challenging. And so the Women Business Center has really provided me with one-on-one mentoring and coaching that has been invaluable for our business.
And diving into my next question, what are some business difficulties that other women or other young women may be subject to that institutions like the Women's Business Center could help them with or could provide them with? As you spoke about their mentorship programs, or even just if a young woman has a business starting out, being able to enter programs and everything like that.
That's a great question. I think that, like I spoke about, when you're going into business, it can be a scary endeavor. It can also be confusing. There's just so many moving pieces. Having somebody to talk to and help you walk through the various steps or the various options. And so the Women Business Center provides coaching, mentoring. They are also a resource that can help you fan out to other organizations. So if you're needing, maybe legal help or accounting help, they are really one-stop shop where you can get connected to all the other resources that you need. In addition, they work with the Lift Fund, which particularly is looking to help fund small businesses who are getting started. And that is invaluable, because it does take resources to get a business off the ground. It does take, advice and mentoring. I come from Africa. One of the proverbs that we have in Africa is that it takes a village to raise a child. And in this case, it does take a village to help somebody get up and running with their business. And so the Women Business Center is just a wealth of resources for anyone who's thinking about going into business. Go in and have that conversation. They also have physical space available. So one of the things that you face, as a young business is you don't have the resources to rent out an office or have your own office space where you can meet with clients, and the WBC offers those resources for you. Finally, I think that one of the biggest things that you would get from being involved in the Women Business Center is the community, being around other women who are like-minded, who are doing well in their own businesses and who want to share their journey. That is invaluable. Having a community around you to help to just encourage you and show you what is possible. I think those are amazing ways that the Women Business Center can help.
And my next question, what are some unknown or some ways in which women small business owners are challenged that we as the public are unaware of? Obviously we know that sometimes as women in business, you can maybe be patronized, you can maybe run into some challenges of people not being willing to negotiate with you, but things that we don't see on the day-to-day basis that women business owners particularly have to face.
So for women business owners, there are challenges that many people are not aware of. We are starting to break into business, but a lot of boardrooms and a lot of decision rooms are still heavily skewed towards men. I have been in several situations where I walked into a room. I'm the only female, certainly the only person of color there, and it's easy to feel imposter syndrome, which is, why am I here? Did I, you start to question yourself, and it does impact, your self-confidence and your ability to drive forward. And those are some of the intangibles that people are not aware of. And for me, that's why it's important to surround yourself with other women business owners. Part of the work that the Women Business Center is doing is to help you to get in community with other women who are doing well. So being in those communities or in those circumstances where you're really the only one. Additionally, as a women business owners, or as a business owner, there are times that you really have to take decisions. I have been in situations where I took a certain similar decision and I was termed aggressive, termed bossy, and just 2-3 days later, a male counterpart does a very similar thing, and they are termed as very decisive. And so women are given these labels. It's almost like we should be seen and not heard. There is a certain perception that we have of how a woman should be, and that is not always the case. If you want to get things done, sometimes you want to walk into the room. You walk into the room with your personality. You own the room. Many times you'll walk in and people are wondering, are you the owner of the company? Where is the owner of the company? Sometimes I'll walk in with my employee and everybody's addressing my employee, and it's almost like this is the other person who came with the owner of the company. And we have to fight through all that. And make sure that when we sit at the table, we bring value. And so for women, we're always called upon to bring more value. We work extra hard and we're bringing more value to the table in order to make our voices heard. So these are some of the challenges. Like I said, I'm excited. I think that the wave is changing. People are starting to become aware of this. Women are taking their place at the table and becoming part of the conversation, and that is very refreshing to see. And I think that organizations like the Women Business Center play a critical role in helping to galvanize that effort and make sure that there's critical mass of women who are in business who can speak up for themselves.
And my next question, how do you think events such as the pandemic have impacted how women small businesses operate? Obviously, that had a huge impact on availability of funds, on availability of customers. Obviously, there's a limit on people who are able to come in, so things like that.
So that is, the pandemic has been interesting. It's been an interesting season for everybody in business, in particular women. So a greater percentage of the small businesses are run by women. So businesses between $0 to $1 million, that's where you find a greater percentage of women in business. And these are the businesses that have taken a huge hit by the pandemic. Everything ranging from funding, like you mentioned, where women have, about less than 30% of the funding is going to women in business. So already women are already, outnumbered when it comes to funding, and that was even exacerbated during the pandemic. And then women are running a lot of the businesses that work in the community. And so the stay at home and no work impacted a lot more of women in business. I also, think that for women in business, the supply chain has been a huge challenge. We still are in the supply chain challenge. For us, it has been the biggest impact on our business. Just getting our products, we import products from across the globe. And some of our products have been in the ports for over a year. And that has slowed a lot of businesses and taken businesses out. Women are also the ones who are often the primary caregivers within the home. And so while you're running a business and you have to take care of the children in the home because they can't go to school, and you're really, trying to manage everything you have going, a lot of times women have thrown in the towel, whether it's for their businesses or for their professional careers. They've thrown in the towel because they have to choose between careers and their children. And those are things that we've seen happen to a lot of women in business and even professional women. And so managing, juggling all the balls for women has been tough. And we're seeing some of that impact in the data and in the statistics.
And moving on to my final question, what does Herbal Goodness have coming up for 2022?
Wow, for 2022, Herbal Goodness, we are so excited about, what's going on. We have successfully ridden through the pandemic, thanks to, technology, some of the technology. We've pivoted a lot and moved a lot into our e-commerce business. So e-commerce has been really good for us. We are starting to come out of our supply chain. We are also looking for funding to support us because of the entire supply chain. Now we have to stock up on inventory, sometimes 18 months ahead. And so that's a lot of cash for us. And we're working through that with some of our partners. So we've seen a lot of progress in that regard. For 2022, our company is looking to really expand and open up a manufacturing facility, bring in-house some of our own manufacturing. Before this, we've had to depend on third-party suppliers, third-party manufacturers. Those costs are going up, and we cannot keep passing these costs on to our customers. And so we're owning part of our supply chain and our manufacturing so that we can control some of that risk. And that gives us a huge advantage because we can grow and scale at our own pace. We can test new products very rapidly. So we're looking at launching about 5 new product lines this year. So 2022 is looking amazing for us. We are also looking at other global markets beyond the US, expanding into Europe or Canada. So there's just a lot of excitement for us in that regard. And we're very excited about that.
And I believe that's my last question. Thank you for allowing me to interview with you, and thank you for telling me about Herbal Goodness and about Women's Business Center and for all that both have been able to accomplish and do for women. And I think that's it. This is Brianna Pat from the Dallas Weekly.